thing that's got a positive cash flow in total at the end, okay? So it actually makes them negative because they're ahead, so they're not using any subsidy. Right? So you can see the percentages. This one I think there might be questions on, so I'll ask you before we even go to the projections. Anybody have questions on it? Okay, we can flip over. This is where we expect to be at the end of the year. So you'll see the, your $58 a month is split this way between these areas. So this is how the money is being spent or allocated out in total. Quiet room today.
You may notice golf, for example, from 9:30 to end of the year, it goes up dramatically, and that's because of Stonehenge Turf Care Center. So we're projecting to spend $600,000 on that before year end. That's cash out the door. That's included in all these calculations. So that's why that has a significant change from 9:30 to the end of the year.
Yes, John.
When you say projected here, that's based on the budget, is it? Not a projection real time today?
The budget and what we expect, actually what we expect is going to happen, like any changes that we see coming with between actual and budget.
So it's not the budget, it's a real-time projection now for the end of the year.
Okay, so food and beverage of 3.9 is correct, is what we're thinking today.
That's correct, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, the methodology we use here is it's every division's cash outflow, okay, as a percentage of the total cash outflow. So we project at the end of the year, F&B will be 7% of the total cash going out the door. Golf, 10% of the total cash going out the door. And we just apply that percentage to the $58 to come up with the dollar amount. So that's the methodology.
Yes,
Thank you for putting in this industry numbers. I appreciate you doing that. Which brings me to a question. I'm looking at line 39 and 40, which is food and beverage, payroll and benefits as a percentage of revenue. And it shows that special wage is 68%, but industry is 85%. My background as an HR person tells me that you are not in a competitive situation in trying to hire staff, because your payroll and your benefits must not be in line with other companies in our industry and maybe not even in our community. Is that a problem? Are you having staffing issues because you do not have payroll and benefits to attract them?
I don't believe so. I think for this area, we are in line with
What about police department?
the police. Well, I mean, Becky's probably the best one to answer that question from HR, because she is the one who actually does the studies every year, and I think she does them a few times a year just to make sure that we're in line. I think from speaking to Mike, we're okay with the police department too. I think we're in line with everyone else. So I don't think.
There's a shortage of police officers across the state of Tennessee and really across the nation. This new generation, they just don't want to do it. I will admit that our health insurance is not as competitive as a government organization, but we offset that with some other benefits, and that's what attracts some of our employees.
The other thing is the city of Crossville actually is going to do a compensation study for the city. And so once that's done, we should go get a copy of that to then compare our team to their position and what have you, and make appropriate adjustments if needed.
You should have some information from the sheriff's study that was done. Now granted, it was not by an HR professional, but it was done certainly equivalent to what I as an HR consultant would have done. And that should be able to give you some information. I would actually like to have our HR director come to the next board meeting and talk about this issue, because it's a very competitive market, and our membership And our visitors depend on the caliber and the staffing that we can have. And if we are not doing what we need to do, then I think that's an area that should be concerning. So, speaking from an HR person.
Yep.
I'm sure she would be more than willing to talk to us.
Yeah, and we monitor that, and Becky many times does exit interviews with people to try and get a better understanding of why they're leaving and what have you, and definitely in some cases, they're able to find a better job, a better paying job. Probably the majority of the time, it's not related to compensation, it's related to other things.
Yes.
Hmm. Okay.
Denise? Are these pie charts available online for the people who are watching on tape that are not at the meeting?
Not right now, but we'll add them to the financial package.
I like these.
I think a lot of people like charts, it's a lot easier. Anything else?
Line 18 and 19, the cost of services, again, food and beverage,
Right.
and the flip-flop on that, what's the difference?
Well, the top number is us, right? That's the percentage we're, and then the industry is a little bit lower than we are.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Only what we're spending on our material, or our cost of goods sold, which is really the food. So what we're paying for the food versus what the industry is, or what we're using, I could say.
Part of it is our prices are too low, because that has an impact on it. So it's a combination of prices probably being too low, as well as maybe purchasing not being as good as it should be.
We're going to be looking at both of those. Anything else?
Anything else, Denise?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Denise.
We've already taken care of our unfinished business. Our new business is, like I said in my president's report, we were across the board, excuse me. We'd like to establish 2 new ad hoc committees, Food and Beverage Committee and Fairfield Glade Community Club Governmental Affairs Committee. I might add that all our committees start out as ad hoc, which means basically they're here temporarily, see if they work, see if it's successful, and so on and so forth, and then they will, if we deem that things are working fine, they roll over to what we call standing committees. But all our committees start as ad hoc committees. So can I have a motion to approve these 2 new committees?
I would like to make that motion that we establish 2 new ad hoc committees, one entitled the Food and Beverage Committee, the other entitled the Fairfield Glade Community Club Government Affairs Committee, both being ad hoc. I would also add to that motion that we take the steps necessary to have a charter for each committee in front of us at the next board meeting, which is in December, for approval. And that, a little out of the ordinary, that we go ahead and solicit applications for both of those committees immediately, with a view to being able to appoint those committees again at our December meeting.
I'll second that one.
Okay, any discussion? Which we did yesterday. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next thing is the addition of a floating holiday for club employees. A little bit behind the catalyst of this, a year and a half, about a year ago, I guess it was, one of our employees who was a veteran came to the club and suggested or requested that the club give military veterans Veterans Day off. Obviously, you can imagine, you know, that gets involved with checking DD 214, verifying that you're a veteran, you know, yada, yada, yada. So what we have decided to do after discussion for about a year is we thought maybe what a better way to do this would be to just create this concept of a floating holiday that could be used by our permanent full-time employees as sort of an extra benefit, an extra little thank you for what they do. So that's what we've decided to do, is create this open floating holidays type situation. Any other discussion on that? Okay, can I have a motion?
Yeah, Mr. President, I move that we create a floating holiday effective January 1st, 2019 for all Fairfield Glade Community Club full-time employees.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we have several purchase requests. Mr. McAdoo, a VersaLift bucket truck. Everybody should have at least one of these.
I'm the Director of Community Maintenance here at Fairfield Glade. One of the things that falls under my umbrella is facilities maintenance. You may have noticed in the last week or so, my guys have been out checking street lights, parking lot lights. I say street lights, these are ones that we're responsible for, not BEC. We do that a couple times a year at a cost of about $20,000 per 2-week period. That's rental of a lift that we have to do this. We consolidate the maintenance and into these 2 weeks, 2 times a year, based on the cost. The lift that we use is rented. The lift that we use has to be moved by the company that we rent it from. We can drive it down the road, but it's 2 miles an hour. So it's better that the company comes out and moves it for all involved. So based on those facts and the facts that we can use a lift truck for other issues throughout the community, the payback on this truck would be less than 5 years. It's like 4.2 years. So the lifespan of the truck is much greater than that. And this is a lift truck that you would see for BEC and Frontier Communication uses. It also is a lot safer to use than the lift truck that my guys rent. So that's why we have been looking at this for probably about 2 years. But it's just because of the payback time, we feel that this is a good investment. Okay? And this is actually coming out of 2019 funds, but it's a 22-week lead time. So that's why we're bringing it forward now. Do you have any questions on that? Yes, sir.
Will this truck be available for the fire department in the event of
No.
a story?
No, sir. It is not designed for that. It doesn't have water capability. It doesn't have any capability. It is also an uninsulated truck, meaning that it can't go within 10 feet of a high power line. Okay? So the uninsulated truck was cost prohibitive. Also, it's not needed for what I need to do. I'm not going to be working in a high power line. I can't see the fire department even wanting to use this. It would probably cause more safety issues than actually using. So, any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Sam. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the purchase request for a VersaLift bucket truck for 2019 at $88,000?
I will make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
All those in favor? Oh, discussion, excuse me, I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sewer extension on St. George Place. Bruce. Now, to keep your record going, Bruce, this ought to come in at about $15,000, right?
I hope so. We'll see. I'm presenting a PR purchase request for a sewer extension along St. George Place from Sneed, the intersection of Sneed and St. George Place down to St. George to our 12-inch force main. We've got low pressure sewer system up in Druid Block 3, which is Brokenwood, Sugar Bush Lane, Baltusal, Greenwood, and those areas are experiencing more problems with the grinder pumps because there's such high pressure in that line. This will relieve an awful lot of that pressure avoid sending the flow to two separate pump stations and bring it right to the treatment plant. So it's slightly over budget, but it's certainly going to help the operation of the collection system. The PR is for $65,500. If you know St. George Place, it's all rock, so there's a lot of work breaking rock out to install the pipe.
Okay. Can I have a motion for the sewer extension on St. George Place, $65,500?
Yes, I move that the sewer extension on St. George Place from St. George Road to Sneed Road for a fee of $65,500 be approved.
Can I have a second?
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Golf carts, 2019, Stonehenge, $147,192. Jeff?
Good morning, everybody. This is the annual purchase that we make for our fleet of carts. This year, we're replacing the carts that are at Stonehenge. We're looking to purchase 72 carts, and we're going to trade in 72 carts. Last year, we brought the fleet up from Heatherhurst that had 75 carts in it. The maintenance crew is going to keep 3 of these carts for, they paid the trade-in value of $2,500 out of their capital budget. So the purchase price this year is $147,192. This is a purchase of the E-Z-Go carts that will be the same that we've had at Heatherhurst for the last couple of years with the bag covers and the dual sign holders and the dual sand bottles in them.
Jeff, if you could explain why we're doing this now versus normally we do this in January or February.
Right. What we're going to do is we're going to put this through today. E-Z-Go is going to come pick up the carts that are at Stonehenge now. That will allow Sean to bring his equipment and his men over and use our pro shop and also the cart barn for their break room and stuff through the winter time. We will not receive the new carts until probably mid-March next year. That's why we're bringing it now.
All right, thank you. Can I have a motion for golf carts for 2019 Stonehenge for $147,192?
I so move.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And how are we doing on rounds through October?
Through yesterday, our budget per day is 555 players. Through yesterday, we were at 554. So we were basically on budget for our rounds. We're going to see a dip at the end of this month. Tomorrow was set up for a real good day, and we've lost some pre-booked rounds because of the weather that's coming in. The good news is, last year during our night golf, we had 36 players, and last night we had 60. So night golf is up. We're doing the best. We're starting to play at nighttime. Any budget we can meet's a great thing.
Jeff, how's the golf simulator going?
The golf simulator is going good. I think we're at, since inception, around $13,000 for the money that we made. The majority of that was through December, January, February, March. So we've got some programs in place for, we're going to do some shootouts over there and then try to do more teaching in the wintertime. It's a demand deal. When it's snowing cold for 3 or 4 days, the simulator seems to get more play. You know, when we can get outside, the simulator goes down. But the simulator has been a very positive amenity for the CCC, for golf, and for the community. It's been a great investment.
Yeah, we were hoping for about 12,000 a year, so we're ahead of that. You know, and we haven't even hit the 1 year mark yet.
And honestly, club sales has been up because of that, and the simulator has helped all the way around for that. And Mary, do you have a question? No?
Me?
Yeah, I thought you
No,
were
I
going to
was
say
just going to congratulate you on bringing that in.
something. No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I wondered if you would explain, because some people are curious as to why we haven't considered electric cars.
Electric cars, we got bids from E-Z-Go and Club Car both for gas and electric. Currently, Club Car does not warranty their batteries for 5 years. So we keep our cars on a 5-year rotation. So to go in and exchange all the batteries in your 4th to 5th year is very expensive. It's about $125, $135 a battery. You got to change all 6 that's in the car. E-Z-Go has a lithium battery that they guarantee for 5 years. It's in their 2nd year of usage. That car is a lot more expensive than the Club Car is. So we looked at both of them. Gas at this point is still the best way to go. When we look at doing some work with the clubhouse at Stonehenge, we're going to look at the electric deal. The architects are telling us that we have to have a fire rating if we work into the new building. So we would have to fireproof the cart barn if we keep the gas carts. So we're going to look at the price of what the fireproof would be to the price of the electric cars. But currently the gas carts is the best value for us going forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Jeff. Fairfield Glade Resident Services, Pat. And once again, you're tougher than I am, short sleeve shirt.
Good morning to the new board. Big loud voice. Let me just start off by saying one quick thing. I'm sure you all have done it at home. I made a major mistake this morning. I announced to my wife, what is the best way to get rid of kitchen odors? She told me, eat out.
I like that.
Well, FGRS is humming along beautifully. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of details and statistics. I'll wait till the December meeting. But I do want to just say one thing, and I did bring it up at the last meeting. Our Way to Go program hit a milestone. Over 100,000 miles driven and 4,000 plus rides. Now, 100,000 miles is 4 times around the earth. Pretty amazing for this little community. So they've done a great job. I will say this also, we are always looking for extra drivers because this seems to take up the biggest part of our work, during our normal work week. The Cookville run is up and humming. As you know, that's about a 6-hour window, so that's a long day for those drivers. The Cookville run again is strictly medical, nothing else. There's no shopping. It is strictly just for doctors. We're currently also interviewing a couple of new board candidates. We have a couple of board members who are retiring. Don't forget November 7th, Coffee with the Cox from 8:30 to 10:30. Will you be serving Krispy Kremes at that? Yes. Now, in closing, let me just say this. Feel free to stop by our facility. We're behind Dollar Tree between Benchmark and Zurich. And stop in and see what we're doing and see what we have going for us. And the other thing we're always looking for, and this is a rather touchy subject, but we feel very strongly that our membership, the residents sitting in this room and the many, many others that are out there, can help us with identifying people that need help. The elderly has a great deal of pride, so they don't come forth and say, hey, I'm having trouble cooking, I can't drive, I can't do this, can't do that. And we can identify these people. We're not bopping into their homes or anything like that. We have to be very careful. And a big problem when we ask our 175 volunteers to help, and also when I ask out in the Glade, is people say, well, I don't want to get in trouble by identifying somebody. Well, please do, don't let it bother you, because if these people are suffering from malnutrition, or some of these people are behind the wheel of a car, it's frightening. And I'm not being critical, but it happens to all of us. So anything you can do, tell your neighbors, if you know somebody's got a problem or something, at least get to us, and then we can send, we do have people that are fully qualified to go into the homes and interview these people and find out what their needs are. So we do ask you to help us out. Any questions?
Yeah.
You would, Greg. Yeah. Why, what do you want?
When you do the transports to Cookville for
Yeah.
medical purposes, in that 3-hour window that they're given, does that
That's a
start?
6-hour window.
Oh, it's a 6-hour window.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because you got a good hour each way.
Right, that's what
And you know, one thing we do with our Way to Go program, our drivers contact the pickup the next day, the night before, to make sure, because one of our problems is, if we are going to drive somebody, sometimes people forget they're going for a ride, so they call them the night before, just to remind them, hey, I'll be getting you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, 7 or whatever. And it's a good practice to have. And we just had a meeting, our annual meeting with all of our drivers right here. We had about 40 some odd drivers show up. It was great, and you know, we heard some very interesting stories about how our riders are demanding certain drivers because they're used to them. You know, familiarity helps. So the program is really working beautifully, and but we always need new volunteers, because I'll tell you, quite frankly, you know, after a year or two of driving, we have some people who've got 3 years in, you know, but it gets a little old, so we're always trying to replace them. And we do have to keep an inventory of 50-plus drivers to handle the load. Okay?
In the back, Pat.
In the back. Yes, Dave?
Pat, can you state your hours of operation for everybody?
Oh, yeah. Well, we're open, actually, we're open 9 to 12, 5 days a week in that facility. But we have on-call every single day of the week. We have, you know, when you call that main number, which is 456-7272, we do have staff on call to answer it. The Way to Go program has somebody literally 8 hours a day monitoring that. We don't do Vial of Life and stuff like that, but home delivered meals and Way to Go are pretty well monitored all day long. We don't work on weekends, I'll be honest with you. Our residents have a life too, you know, so, and we don't do anything after hours. We have handled some emergencies, and Chief Williams can verify this, where we've actually had one of our drivers take somebody to a hospital, or the chief gets involved in that, where they've had to, because these people won't call 911, and we've had to step in, and you know, that's not fair. They should, that's what 911 is there for. But we've had some of our dispatchers actually get out of their home at 8 o'clock at night and go pick these people up and pop them down to the emergency room. This doesn't work, I'll be very frank with you, but that's the way it is. But we're pretty much on call 7 days a week. I mean, we can, I've received calls at home, because if I'm the day guy, for one member of our board has to be available for phone calls 5 days a week in case a situation arises that can't be handled by the office coordinator. So.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Okay, comments?
Not for you. I may be confused, but did you actually vote on the golf carts?
Yes, we did.
Oh, you did? Okay, sorry.
You are confused.
I am.
Thanks for checking.
Old presidents die hard. They really do.
I think he was asking that from me.
Okay, comments from the floor. If you have something that you'd like to ask us, come on up to the microphone, introduce yourself. We'll do our best. Okay, comments from the board?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Just remind everybody that the photo contest is drawing to a conclusion. All of the entrants, well over 150, are posted at the community center. You can go over there and you can vote for your favorite entrant. The voting, however, ends on October 30th, and then a few days later, I think November 2nd, there is a function at the Art Guild surrounding the photo contest. This has been a fun event. Some of those pictures, in my mind, are really dramatic, so it's worth your time to stop over at the community center